Welcome to Super Games Buster, where we take a critical look at video games and insert second part here. Today, I'm excited, and you want to know why? Mega Man. In case it hasn't been very obvious, I'm a huge Mega Man fan. Not only has Mega Man been around for almost as long as the video game industry itself, but there are so many different versions of the character spanning across so many different games that there might as well be an entire mythos surrounding the series. He's a longtime video game icon, right up there with the likes of Mario and Sonic. And after a string of cancellations that have left Mega Man fans hanging out to dry, things are finally looking up again. We have Mega Man and Smash Brothers, Man of Action is working on a new cartoon, the Mega Man Legacy Collection has been announced. There's still hope. However, cancellations and content are a natural part of the video game industry, and Mega Man hasn't been exempt from this in the past. So without further ado, I give you my top 10 unreleased Mega Man games. Which is crazy in and of itself, because before I started making this list, I thought there was only 4. Number 10. The last few years have definitely been disheartening for most Mega Man fans. However, Mega Man games have been cancelled since as far back as 1996, with one of the earliest examples we can find being Mega Man X3 for the Panasonic 3DO. Originally, this version of X3 was going to come out alongside the Sony PlayStation and Sega Saturn versions of the game on April 26, 1996. The reason why it didn't? The 3DO itself. The 3DO came out in 1993 and was one of the first CD-based consoles to ever hit the market. As such, due to the large storage capacity of CDs, developers flocked to the 3DO like loud angry teenagers to first-person shooters. Believe it or not, there was actually a surprisingly large number of games for the 3DO. However, due to the lack of quality control and an insanely high retail price, the 3DO sold poorly and was discontinued in 1996. How much was the 3DO? Well, you know how at launch the PS3 was
$599 US.
Well, tack about $100 more to that price, then remember that this was 1993. Meaning that, when adjusted for inflation, the price nowadays would be a little under $1,200. Man, I wonder why it sold poorly. Evidence of this port of X3 only surfaced recently, with some magazine articles and a single television commercial advertising the fact that a 3DO version even existed. Nonetheless, due to the poor sales of the 3DO, and the fact that the 3DO port was presumably no different than the PlayStation and Saturn ports, this cancellation was not so much a tragedy as it was, well, expected. Number 9. This one's actually one of the more recent ones, so I imagine it's still pretty fresh in everyone's minds. But for those of you who aren't aware, allow me to introduce you to Mega Man Universe, a digital title planned for the Xbox Live Arcade and PlayStation Network. Based on what we got to see through trailers, the game looked to be a side-scrolling action platformer, with an absurd emphasis on customization. Basically, it was Capcom's version of Super Mario Maker, only with Mega Man.
And Ryu from Street Fighter! Oh my god, take my money!
Development for Mega Man Universe started around March of 2010, with trailers for the game surfacing in July. The base game was supposedly centered around Mega Man 2, with a lot of the customization options available including such things as a character creator that lets you mix and match Robot Master parts, and a stage editor that looked suspiciously similar to the one from Mega Man Powered Up. However, because it wouldn't be on this list otherwise, the game was canned around March of 2011.
Because, you know, Capcom hates fun!
The reason for this game's cancellation is honestly pretty unclear. All that Capcom really said on the matter was that the game was cancelled for, quote-unquote, various reasons. As such, there's a lot of speculation about it, like that the negative feedback regarding the game's art direction lowered sales projections, or even that the earthquake and tsunami that hit Japan in 2011 caused the data to be lost. There's also the possibility that Keiji Inafune's departure from Capcom at the end of 2010 might have put a halt on all Mega Man-related projects. At the end of the day, though, it doesn't really make a difference. Even if they somehow brought Mega Man Universe back, now it has to compete with Super Mario Maker. And that's just not even fair, man. Number 8. Okay, so, we've had a bunch of Mega Man collections. We've had the Classic Anniversary Collection, the X Collection, the Zero Collection, and now we've got the Legacy Collection coming, which has less games than the Anniversary Collection, but okay. How about a Game Boy Mega Man collection, though? I mean, those games came out a really long time ago, so why don't we have a collection for that? Oh wait, we did. It just got cancelled. Yep, at one point Capcom had plans to release a compilation of the classic Mega Man Game Boy games in one convenient Game Boy Advance package. The original name for this project was Mega Man Mania, but it went on to be formally known as the Mega Man Anniversary Collection for the Game Boy Advance. The original idea was to convert all 5 Game Boy games to color, include a bunch of extras like an artwork gallery and some info on the individual games, and have it ready for release in 2004, with the console version of the Anniversary Collection. I mean, they were absolutely ready to release this game. Development was so far along that the game even got a few commercials airing on TV. Everything was ready, we were waiting for it. But then Capcom started delaying the game. Again, and again, and again. Anyway, the rumor was that Capcom had lost the game's source code somehow, and were remaking the game from scratch. However, as mentioned earlier, the game was supposed to come out in 2004, and the delays lasted well into 2007. After multiple delays, as well as rumors that it was going to come out on the Nintendo DS instead, people actually started demanding some answers from Capcom. Instead of answers, though, Capcom put the game on indefinite hiatus, which is really just another way of saying it was cancelled.
NumberSeven.
Did you know that only classic Mega Man games have appeared on Xbox consoles? It's a very random fact, but the Mega Man Anniversary Collection was the first Mega Man game to come out on the Xbox, followed some years later by Mega Man 9 and Mega Man 10 on the Xbox 360. The Mega Man Legacy Collection is only the 4th Mega Man game on an Xbox console. However, Capcom originally had plans to add to that number, with an Xbox port of the Mega Man X Collection. The Mega Man X Collection was supposed to come out for the GameCube, PlayStation 2, and Xbox. It was announced around early 2005, and was set to come out sometime around fall of that year. However, the game suffered multiple delays in that time, which you would think meant that it got cancelled. But in a startling contrast to some of the other games on this list, the game did eventually see the light of day around early 2006. The reason it's on this list, though? No Xbox version.
God, man, the marketing would have written itself.
Now, this is where things get a little interesting. Mostly because we don't know why the Xbox version got cancelled, or why the game was delayed. The only thing that I can say for sure is that the game was supposed to come out with a bunch of extras, but at launch, there was nothing. Supposedly, the extras were going to include things like remixed soundtracks for the Super Nintendo games, redone voice work for some of the PlayStation games, because, you know, no one wants to deal with this again.
What am I fighting for?
And even some script revisions, so the narrative flows better. So what the heck happened? Well, to put it in layman's terms, supposedly, Capcom delayed the game to remove the extras. Why? Oh, don't worry, we'll be discussing that further down the list. For now, let's just have a moment of silence for all those poor Xbox owners who are looking forward to trying out Mega Man X without having to buy a new console. Those poor, disappointed Xbox owners.
NumberSix.
So, hey, Recore looked awesome at E3 this year, right? And look, Armature Studios is partnering up with Keiji Inafune for this. The developers of Metroid Prime and the creator of Mega Man working together? That sounds like it's going to be amazing. But hey, what if we got one of the illustrators for Iron Man on board? And what if they all worked on a new Mega Man X game together? And what if X looked like this? We'll make it a first-person shooter. Give X a bunch of guns instead of that dumb buster. Make it dark and edgy and gritty. And we'll make it a reboot to the series. Actually, no, this sounds dumb. Believe it or not, this was actually a concept that was being kicked around over at Capcom. Maverick Hunter, a first-person shooter set in the Mega Man X universe that was going to serve as a reboot to the series. Not much is actually known about this game, other than what we can glean from the leaked tech demo footage. All we know is that the game was such a vast departure from the X series that fan outcry was astronomical when evidence of the game surfaced. Unlike the other games on this list though, this game never made it into full development. footage of the game leaked online around 2013, but the game had already been quietly cancelled by 2010 and never even got properly announced. If it had? Well, let's just say that the Devil May Cry reboot and Metroid Prime Federation Force are good examples of how scary fans can be when they get something they weren't asking for. Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you're wondering where the other half of this video is, I'm actually editing it right now. The video ran a little longer than I was expecting, so I'm splitting it up into 2 parts. The next part will be out within the week, unless you're from the future, in which case, just click the middle annotation and it'll take you right to it. Anyway, don't forget to like, share, comment, subscribe, follow me on social media, check out the annotations above, all that fun stuff that we all love to do. Anyway, this is Super Gamesbuster, and I'll see you guys later.